Good evening. Welcome to PoliticIt podcast. We've got Kera Birkeland with us today. Great to have you. There's been some interesting things happening in your life. You've done such a fabulous job in the legislature. I'm really sorry that you're leaving. But let's talk a little bit about what led up to that.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to. And thanks for having me here today.
Yeah.
I found out over the summer that my mom, I knew she had been sick for a little bit, but I found out like she was quite sick, what her condition is, and kind of talked with my dad about the needs there. They have a small ranch in Montana. And honestly, just kind of started thinking, oh, shoot, like I really need to step up. I want to be that family member, that daughter, that person, that example to my kids, that family is most important. And so, it was middle of election cycle, primaries were over, everything was over. And I was like, well, I'm on the general election ticket. I'm going to see this through. Maybe, next year or the year after that, like my time is coming to an end in the legislature, which was okay with me always, because I never intended to be there for more than a few terms, right? I just always told people that I don't think we need career politicians. Anyway, so yeah, she got pretty sick, and talked with my dad and talked with Lars and my family, and it just seemed like, hey, we need to be looking out when to do it. And then in December, we have one of our kids that we love got suspended twice from school. And I was talking to the vice principal at this kid's school, and he's like, I don't know what we're going to do with him. I don't know what should we do about what's going on. And I was driving to the Capitol during that conversation, and it just clicked with me, and I was like, I know what needs to happen. As Republicans, we're always talking about parental rights. And I love parental rights, and I feel like I've fiercely advocated for parental rights. But with those rights comes parental responsibility. And when your kid is headed down a trajectory that you don't want, and it's not right for him and the people around him, we have a responsibility to step in. We can't just ask for all the rights to do and raise our kids the way we want, with no responsibility to see that they're good contributing members of society. So right now, the things that he got suspended for they're serious, but because obviously he was suspended, but they didn't harm anyone else. But I don't want it to be an escalation where now he's in high school in a couple of years, and it's a bigger deal. It's a bigger problem. And I'm looking back thinking, oh, shoot, I should have resigned, or I should have, done something different. But my political career or something meant more. That's unacceptable. So looking inside myself on that phone call in December, I was like, I need to help him. I need to be there for him. And so I became getting very pulled, trying to get up to Montana to help my parents, trying to spend more time getting him the resources he needs. But then the voters have a lot of needs. They have a lot of desires of seeing things through. A lot of times government have gotten in the way of their lives and hindered them from being able to do things. And they reached out, and they're like, hey, I need help with this, I need help with that. And calling elections offices, calling, I think it was workforce services, all the things we do as lawmakers as basically a liaison between them and government. Like, I'm getting burnt out, and I don't want the people to suffer because I'm putting my family first. So I felt like, it really was time to give them somebody that could step in and take over and lead with excitement and ready to take on the challenges that we face as lawmakers.
Yeah. So there's also it's funny how the rumor mill gets started, isn't it? Mm-hmm. It's just to me. Well, you've suffered many attacks while you've been in office anyway, right? I mean, because
Yeah.
you've picked on some subject areas that some people were mad at you about.
I mean, if you want to call death threats and attempted, assassinations threats, I guess, or yeah. No, it's been a difficult 4 years. I'm coming up on my 5th year, but of course the first year wasn't too bad until I introduced in 2021 legislation to ensure that women's sports are for those that are born female. And ever since then, it's been chaos, and it's hard. But I think, we always say as lawmakers, it's you don't do it because it feels good. You do it because it's right. And it doesn't feel good to be attacked. It doesn't feel good to be up at night stressing about, what just happened to your home while you were away. But it's the right thing to do, and that's why we do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you do accumulate enemies. Right?
Absolutely.
And I noticed some of those very people are leveling these attacks on you, like some affair that you were in, or your husband left you, or
Yeah.
Which is really interesting, because I think your husband actually went to Montana to help your parents, right?
Correct. Yeah, there was a rumor over the summer that my husband left me. A couple people had asked me to run, be on a ticket to run for office and do certain things. And I think, honestly, John, I think that bugged other people. They didn't want me becoming some rising star in their mind. And I wasn't trying to achieve that. I just wanted to do the best I could for District 4. But rumors got started that he left me, and it was honestly comical from the standpoint when you know the truth.
Yeah.
He's literally in Montana fixing my dad's greenhouse, feeding my parents' animals, taking care of their orchard, doing all this. That's not what a man does when he wants to leave his wife. He probably doesn't
Especially with her parents.
Go help his in-laws. But that was, just some of the many, many things that people have accused us of. And the thing is obviously being in the legislature and having people know that my husband has gone a lot to help my parents is not something we wanted for our safety. Law enforcement, in fact, said, do not
Tell
share
anybody. Yeah.
that your husband travels a lot, right? But people expect that they get to know these details about your life. And if you don't share every personal detail about your life, there must be something that you're hiding. And I think so many people, even since I resigned, have come forward and said, all these attacks on you are terrible, but that's what you get for being in public office.
Right.
And John, that has to stop. That narrative is unhealthy, because they then will follow it up with, which is why I'll never run for office. But we need those good people. Those people making those comments should run for office, and they should be able to do it without, persecution that is completely based on fallacy, that is completely false, that is threatening. I can disagree with a lot of people, and I disagree with a lot of Democrats up at the Capitol, but I don't wish anything ill upon them. But that is missing so much from so much discourse right now in politics. It's like, I disagree with you, therefore you should die. And that pushes people away, but at the same time, they're not willing to stop and say, you know what, that's wrong. And I'm going to let you say that that's wrong, and I'm going to stand behind you when you say that's wrong. I'm not going to simply brush it off as that's just politics and that's what you get because you get to be in the public's eye.
Yeah. Yeah, because you've actually had to move
Multiple
a few times,
yeah.
right? Because of threats. How did this become a national story? I mean, there was something in the British papers, weren't there?
Yeah,
Wasn't
and I wish I knew. Honestly, I knew in December. I was like, I don't think I can wait. I don't think I can push this off through March. And I don't think the people in District 4 deserve someone who's mailing it
only
in.
half there.
Yeah, that's just like, I'm keeping a seat warm. I despise that of elected officials. You're either there and you show up, or get out so someone else can do it. That's my personal philosophy. And so it's like, I have got to just get out. And I talked to some people at that I work for. One of the jobs I have, part-time remote jobs that I have, and I just said, my kid's having some troubles, my mom's having some troubles. I'm trying to be a good employee, and I just don't think I can keep being a good mom, good daughter, a good employee, and be in the legislature. And they're like, well, whatever you want to do. So we talked, and I didn't know what I wanted to do for sure, but then December 26th hit, and I just was like, you know what? There's 3 people that have been burned alive. There's 3 airlines that have gone down. There's so much chaos in the world. People are busy with Christmas. I just need to resign, because that still gives them time to replace me before the session begins. I literally thought and had hoped that it would just be like, Birkeland resign, moving on. I wish I could explain it. I wish it wasn't a story that caused more division.
Yeah, it's amazing. We're going to take a break, and we'll come right back, okay?
Okay.
Welcome back to PoliticIt. We've got Kera Birkeland with us. Yeah, we're sad to see you go.
That's kind. Thank you.
Interesting conversation, though. How do you think we can tone down this rhetoric?
I wish I had a great answer. I know I'm guilty at times of like, I just get on and I'm like, no, I'm not going to let you lie about me, right? And I will blast people, or just seeing people lie in general. It bugs me. And so, I know I can do better, and I think everyone needs to do that. Like, just that self-reflection of, am I adding to it? And even, like, I always hear, a lot of people will say, if it feels good, don't say it. And I disagree with that. If it feels good and it's true, you should say it. But you don't have to say it in a way that is, insulting a person. Right? And I think that's where, like, we've got to get back to that, where it's like, what, I completely disagree with this bill. I completely disagree with this, person's views or whatever. But we don't have to insult the person when we do it. But the internet has seemed to, especially the last few years, make everyone feel like they're out there on the battlefield every day, and we're not.
Yeah, we say things online. I shouldn't say we. I say people say things online that they would never say in public.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing? You had a post just recently with a little meme in it that I thought was excellent, where you're kind of explaining things, but you're talking about this idea.
Yeah. Which I'm not sure which post it was. Just recently, like yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the be still photo. Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. I guess on one of the apps, someone referred to me as the genital police. And so to send her all your photos. And so it's just been disgusting. Like, I almost want to post them and be like, this is comical. Look at this person, right? And be part of that in a back in your face kind of way. I'm like, no, I don't want to go there. I could. And it's so tempting sometimes, John.
I know.
I'm trying to be a bigger person and not post some of these things that are sent to me and laugh at them. But, I just really want more peace in my life. I want to be a good daughter and a good mother. And I really do want to focus more on the people who have stood up for me, who have defended me. Like, those are my people. Those are my friends. Everyone else, just what they say isn't really important. I'm not really concerned about what they say at this point in my life, because I'm not, as of Friday, I won't be an elected official, and it's
that's sad for us.
Well, I mean, it is and it isn't, right? Because I think you can see someone new step up. And I think in elections and in government, you need to see that newness, that fresh idea, that fresh perspective. And so it's not really sad at the end of the day, because, people would leave the legislature and I'm like, oh, I'm going to miss them. But Matt McPherson is phenomenal, right? We lost Quinn Cotter. It was so sad. I love Quinn. Great man. But Matt's equally as wonderful, right?
Yeah,
and so I think we just learn more the more people who come in. We get to understand things from their new perspective, and we can create better laws, hopefully, from that fresh perspective.
So I wanted to touch on a few points, though. Be still. What were you conveying in that? Because I think it's something everybody should listen to.
Well, for me, just not try to be everything. There's so much pressure right now that you have to be perfect in everything that you do. You have to be, like, as a woman, I have to be the lawmaker, a provider, and working. That's how I'm relevant if I'm making money for my family. I'm a good mom, showing up for my kids. I'm at all their activities. You have to be everything. And for me right now, my point was, like, I just want peace, and I want to just prioritize the things that matter most. And do, I love the book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and begin with the end in mind.
Yeah.
And it's not politics at this time in my life. Could I come back down the road? Perhaps, if it's appropriate, if people want me to. But for right now, I want to prioritize the things that are worthy of prioritization, which is my family.
Your family, your faith, your mom at this time.
Yeah.
Some people said, well, Kara knew about this during the summer, so she should have just pulled out. And I'm thinking, pulled out? The primary was over.
Right. I didn't have any inclination of any of this coming up when I filed for re-election in January. No one else filed to run against me on the Republican side. I was going to run for another 2 years, and I was excited, right? There were some bills I knew I wasn't going to get passed when it comes to property tax. I'm like, I really want to see a reduction in property tax. I had no inclination at that time. And then state convention came around, and people were saying, I'd like you to be on this ticket or that ticket, or consider this or that. And I was like, and I knew, oh, my mom's sick. What I loved in one of the articles, I think it was Fox 13, that said, a lawmaker said they're surprised I didn't resign earlier because of family issues. And I'm like, before the last session. I'm like, right. Well, I don't know who that lawmaker was or what they're referring to, but I didn't have a family issue.
Right.
Before last session. So, right. Some people
and after the primary, are you really going to pull out and let a Democrat have the seat?
Right. The conversation of how to best help my parents didn't really occur till September. Of like, okay, things are getting to the point where someone needs to, take care of their orchard. Someone needs to be around to, get my mom sometimes isn't able to drive. It can't always be my dad. My dad retired early to do what he can, but it can be him because he's a great man, but it doesn't have to just be him. And I don't believe that that's what families do. We say, you can handle it. Good luck to you over there. I believe that if we have the ability to, we should step up and we should help each other. And so September comes around, and no, exactly. At that point, I was like, well, I'm in this race, and I'm not going to let only the Democrats have a name on the ballot.
Yeah.
And I'm going to, at least get through this next session, because there's copay accumulator bill. It's a huge priority. A cleanup on 257, sex trafficking bill. Like, I'd been working on these things for quite some time. It's like, I'm going to see these things through. So I at least need to get through till next spring. But then life changed in December, and it was like, I got to put things first things first. And that's what I've tried to do.
That final blow was your
absolutely
was your
just
trial.
Realizing that, again, as Republicans, we can't just say we believe things without following up with action. I believe parents have every right and have the responsibility and right to see to their child's education, to see their child's health and well-being. That means I have to step in and ensure that he's getting that, and not just keep my fingers crossed. The school's going to deal with his disciplinary issues. The school's going to deal with all these things. John, for the life of me, please make sure that cell phone bill does not pass, because the schools don't need to take on that responsibility. Parents need to teach their kids how to properly use their phone. And I was having this conversation with a colleague, and I was like, oh, shoot. Here I am talking about parents' responsibility, and I have a kid that needs his parent to step in and be more responsible for his choices and help him make it and hold him more accountable.
Yeah. Excellent. So any advice to me on this upcoming session?
Oh,
since you're not going to be there to keep the Senate in line.
You've got some great new senators coming in. I'm really excited for Representative Brammer, who will be Senator Brammer. Senator Stratton will be phenomenal. You've got things handled well. Just, I would say, please, a bell-to-bell schedule banning kids from having their own phone, to me, is just not right. You want to say if you're a distraction in the school, in the classroom, great. If they're inappropriately using it, cheating, whatever, great. But do not step in as a school and say, we're just going to take your property from you the moment you walk through the door till the moment you leave. And if you need to call your parents, you have to come get our permission in the office. I think that is an absolute government overreach. So I would ask. Oh,
that's a good one.
Please.
Any others that are on the top of your mind?
Well, obviously support all the good things that are coming forward. But no, you've always done such a good job.
I really admired you on the female in sports bill, because you were so tenacious about that, and it's something that meant a lot to you. Having daughters that played sports, you yourself. Were accomplished that way, and that was one that was really tough too. That and the bathroom bill, I think, were two that really got people mad at you on the other side, right?
Yeah, but they're common sense, and we just need to stick to practical common sense.
Well, it's kind of interesting that nationwide, people are starting to recognize that.
Yeah.
I mean, when I saw you go to the Utah State game with a number of the House members and sit in the stands there supporting the volleyball team in their decision, I just thought that was, I love it when people stand up for what they believe in.
Yeah. And those players were so grateful. They were so happy. A number of them they literally were like, I can't believe you're actually coming to support us. We're not doing anything important. And it was so great to show them, no, what
Didn't
you are.
Didn't you get a bunch of T-shirts?
Yeah.
What was the story behind that?
Yeah, so Riley Gaines reached out. She heard that I was looking for those T-shirts, and so she sent, just...
You got to know her, didn't you?
Yeah, she and Caitlin Wheeler and a bunch of those wonderful athletes that had to compete against Leah Thomas. They're phenomenal women who are willing to stand up and speak.
Boy, when Riley Gaines came to Salt Lake, I thought there is an amazing young woman.
Yeah.
That just stuck her neck out. She was told to basically be quiet. And she said, this is something I can't be quiet about.
Exactly. She's never been, she's not insulting. She doesn't attack people's personalities or characters or their looks or anything that we commonly see. But she sticks to truth and facts and principles. And that's why I think she's done so well, is because it's easy to follow her, because you're not going, oh, that crossed a line, or oh, that made me uncomfortable, because why do we got to talk about that, right? No, she's factual and she's truthful.
Well, and see, that's what I see in you. You've always been that way, and I really appreciate that. And that's why you're really going to be missed.
Well, I appreciate that.
But thank you. Kera Birkeland, we'll see you guys next week.